Hey man, you ever look into flat earth?
Okay. Can't beat this. I'm down in the mud. Right near the water. I think I just knocked myself out of level. Let's see. Yeah, look at, oh, distorted. Okay, I had a global leader come on my channel, call me a liar. Said that he proved me wrong, long time ago, blah, blah, blah. How I was wrong about, being able to see Cutter's Rock at less than 4 or 5 feet. Um, yeah. And I, tried to talk to him nicely, but, he's pretty arrogant as far as I'm concerned. So I go to his channel. He's got a video up of a boat sitting there, and you can see all the way across, a couple miles across the water. And I told him, you got a nice flat earth video there. Well, anyhow, we in a conversation, he said something about he commented on my video about, me making a mistake, or, basically kind of like trying to call me a liar. But yes, I did make a mistake. I misidentified one of the racks, which I admitted to. Taboo and I both took the videos down. Taboo remade a video using some of my other footage of, I don't know if he used this footage. I think he used a different footage, but I've done this more than once at a 28-inch perspective. And I'll show a couple video clips from my cell phone where I'm sitting down at the edge of the water with my tripod in the water at 28 inches. Now, I will say that the tide was slowly rolling out. So a little bit later, it might not have been exactly 20 inches, might have been 30, 32, but still very low perspective. And he wants to call me a liar. So I'm going to try to put this video out all in one big long run to show, basically, uncut. There is a portion toward the end where it gets really dark. It's kind of hard to see the screen, so I might brighten the screen up a little bit, but I'm not going to really major manipulate it with any contrast or anything. I'm just going to brighten the screen up. And basically, I'm kind of making this video for him, just to kind of, let him choke on it a little bit, because I'm sure he's going to come back and say, but, oh, now this is refraction. Yeah, they say it's refraction when it doesn't match their global view. So I'm going to just put it out there for him, whether he likes it or not, or whether he even watches it. I don't care, but I'm going to, put the link on his channel and say, here, go watch this. And, you call me a liar. Go ahead. Call me another liar. But again, I'm going to try to leave as much of the audio up as possible. But I might cut in here or there to mention a few things. But most of the people that are familiar with my channel do know all these racks out there. But I might name them off as I pass by them, because I think there's a portion in this where I go by each and every rack. And here's the thing. Prior to me finding, this was after I actually found it. So prior to me finding this, I was still calling them, I was calling the Hernando Beach rack Billy Steele's still, or Billy Steele's and Billy Steele's rack Cutter's Rock, but I was wrong. I will admit that. But take a look, see what you think. Again, I'm making this more for him than anybody else. But hey, I'd be happy to hear other people's comments. All right, thanks a lot.
That's full zoom, but I can't get a focus on it. Look at that. You know what I'm going to do? I'm going to go up on this deck.
Last night I ran and I was like, you know what, I'm not doing anything the rest of the
So
night.
let's give that a shot. See if it makes much difference.
But
This was a personal call with, from my mom, so I'd like to keep it that way. But as you look out here, you can see this haze. This haze is water. Water distorts, just the humidity alone. But that haze is water, so it distorts everything out there. And what it does is it, even on these boats, it can stretch and compress objects. I don't really see these so much as being compressed. I actually see them being almost funneled to a smaller size than normal. Like I say, on a clear days, I can see, I can zoom into these boats and they're like right in my face, which I'm sure plenty of people, if you're watching this, that are, familiar with my channel, watch me zoom in on these boats from this same area, and these boats are like right in my face. So I'm wondering if on those days I'm getting major looming, and on this particular day, the looming isn't there until I get much further from the camera. I'm not sure. I'm still doing a little research on this phenomena, but I know it has to do with optics, and people can deny all they want, but you can actually see the wakes that these boats are creating in the water. And I surely don't believe that it's refraction pulling anything up from behind the curve. Matter of fact, I think it's more the light diffraction or refraction, if you want to call it refraction, the light reflecting off the water that causes a blind. It illuminates this haze, and this haze is it's like putting up a curtain at a certain point, which limits my visibility range. So my visibility is, I'm able to see this water past the boats, but I can't see any farther past it because of that illuminating light, that light illumination, illuminating that haze. Again, water reflect or light reflects off of water, and that haze is water. So in turn, this is what I'm all right claiming. Is it fact? I think so, because throughout my observations, I've always wondered about this backdrop. Why does it, abruptly end at certain points? And sometimes I can see far, well past it, and then sometimes I can't. And I always notice when I don't have all that haze, I can see much, much further. In some of my videos, you can see the clouds way, way out there. And, I don't think I'm only seeing, 3 miles. I think I'm seeing a hell of a lot farther than 3 miles. And, even when I'm down at a low perspective, which I've got some more footage I want to make some videos out of, because I am down at 28 inches and getting a much better visibility, and it's pretty awesome. I think even in this I get better visibility, but it's towards when the sun is departing our view. All right, back to the natural audio.
Okay. Alright, this is about as good as I can get right now. I'm down here again, down by the water, below the seawall, down here by this weed, by this tree. Camera's on low setting here. And can't zoom all the way out because the focus is crap. Distortion City today. That's about as far out as I can zoom. And it's still right on the verge of being distorted. Look at the light diffraction and its distortion beyond. Alright, this is about as good as I can get right now. I'm down here again, down by the water, below the seawall, down here by this weed, or this tree. Camera's on low setting here. And can't zoom all the way out because the focus is crap. Distortion City today. That's about as far out as I can zoom. And it's still right on the verge of being distorted. Look at the light diffraction and its distortion beyond. Can't zoom in on them, but you can see them.
All right, like I was saying before, if I have magnification due to, the water in the air, all of this should be pretty much like right in my face. But of course, you see when I did zoom in fully to the Bayport rack, you really could not see that it was like right in your face. But other days, on clear days, it is right in your face. So, is this what I should be seeing? And then on the days where I got that good vision or good visibility, I'm actually getting more looming then at that time, or why am I not getting the looming if this is a lot of water in my atmosphere? Maybe this is being caused by the light, or maybe some other phenomenon that we're not looking at. That's how I'm kind of seeing it. So again, it's just my an idea that I'm looking at.
Oh, get out of here, bugs. There we go. That's the Bayport rack.
We said they're northerners.
We're northerners and we're like, no
That's what all the northerners do. They play in the water and it's like, this is great. So, pneumonia tomorrow. Where you at from?
Michigan.
From? Michigan?
Yeah, it was -11 when we left.
Oh, Lord. Okay. We're supposed to have 2 really warm days, and then it's supposed to get cold again. And then it'll snap out of its system.
stuff to be precise again.
Okay, being that I'm not saying much in this part of the video, I wanted to bring up this the subject of YouTube, hiding our views, hiding dislikes. They're manipulating view counts and dislikes and likes. They give you more dislikes than they do the likes. They're switching them around, which other people have actually done videos about it. But I know it's true. There's also another thing that I like to bring up. That this guy Davo, he basically, did make a comment. I did not see that comment until months later. I found it in the spam, and like many things that come in the spam, I do approve them. But it's really funny because I'll approve them, and then I'll go back to the video and look for these approvals, especially ones from flat earthers too that I've approved. Basically with links, to a video that they want to show everybody, or like to post it on my channel, I guess. And I don't have a problem with that, so I okay it. But then even weeks later, I go back to look for that link. It ain't there. It's not there. What are they doing with them? Are they totally deleting them before they go on my channel? I have no idea. But I've been kind of disappointed about that, because many times I've approved comments and links, and they just don't show up on my channel. Some do, some don't. Davo's did not come up, because I was really interested when he said that I did identify the Cutter's Rock, and then when I actually looked at that comment, I went back to my navigation maps and I dug in deep and found that they weren't listed. They didn't list Hernando Beach Rack, and then when I saw it, actually it's on the navigation map, but it wasn't listed in the racks, and it didn't even give me the GPS coordinates for it. Since then, I got the GPS coordinates, but this is something, again, when you go to Google Earth and you want to try to, lock in with their coordinates, they're using a different coordinates than what we get on a GPS. So their Mickey Mouse cartoon spinning ball globe is exactly that. It's a cartoon, and I know that they're manipulating the numbers in there, only because if they weren't, they would have the same identical GPS coordinates that everybody else uses. We wouldn't have to change our coordinates to fit their coordinates. So take that into consideration. And you're going to see my screen get darker and lighter. And again, that's just me using the compensation exposure in the camera itself. As I'm filming, I can turn up and down the compensation exposure like you're seeing me do here. It's a really good tool to use, especially when you got a lot of bright light. Sometimes you can cut that bright light, but it does not cut the distortion. The distortion's still there. It just allows you to see a little bit more of the object, or detail of the object that you're zooming in on. And then, like, if you want to see the wakes that the boats are producing, you actually have to turn up the compensation exposure so you can actually see the shadow side of the boat, from the sun shining on the opposite side that you're viewing. So again, I'm not saying a lot in this portion of the video, but I'm going to just go ahead and go back to the natural audio.
That place where we watched the sunset, took pictures between the palm trees. Yeah. Remember that?
Yeah, I know, huh? We need to delete that.
Yeah, make sure you're not in the picture standing like you're freezing.
I know, huh?
They want those goosebumps.
Thank you. Cheers. I know where you guys are.
Make one more birthday cake. Thank you. Make one more. What kind of birthday cake are we? I like German chocolate. Okay. And this one's red velvet. This one's gonna be German chocolate. Kimmy, you're getting that all in your heart.
Alright, I'm not really saying a whole lot in the video, so I might as well chime in here. You see these shadows being, well, I should say appearing to be casted upward, but they're not. They're actually being casted straight across the sky, parallel. Maybe due to the angle of the sun, they just appear to be going upward, but they're not in all reality. Now, what's really interesting is as I start to zoom in further, and these crepuscular rays are shining through the clouds that are out there on the far horizon. You can't see them yet, but shortly you will. You have to ask yourself, what are they reflecting off of? Because, of course, we can see that these light rays are bending. What are they reflecting off of to make them bend? It will be, my answer is, it's water. It's water that extends out there that's beyond our visibility range or our angular resolution limits. And let's talk about focus too. When we're looking at the moon or the sun, do you really think we can focus on an object that's 93 million miles away when I have a hard time focusing on something that's say 10 miles away? I can't focus on that, but I can focus on 93 million miles, or a quarter of a million, or 225,000 miles to the moon, and have it in perfect focus if it's at that range. And even through the clouds and whatnot, I can still focus on it, especially through the thin clouds. I can still focus on the moon. But yet, here when we have something that's not that far away, 10, 15 miles away, we can't focus on it. And of course, my thing is yes, we're looking through distortion, or we're looking through air quality to get to where we're viewing, so that air quality will affect our view. The other thing is when you're looking at something that's real close to the water, that's angular resolution, and that angular resolution is not going to allow you to pick up all the information on such a sharp angle. In other words, at that angle, you're not going to be able to resolve or pick up all the information that you would normally do if it was higher or you increased your or made your angle higher. You know, you went to a higher angle and got a better angle on it. Then you change your angular resolution to where you can start picking up a little more of the detail. Again, pay attention to these light rays shining through these clouds, because you will see them starting to bend. What are they bending on? Water. Well, back there, you know, more water. So, yeah, I do believe that I'm looking across a plane of water. Plus, also, at a certain angular resolution, you're only going to be able to resolve that last visible wave, because all the waves beyond it are at either the same size or could be bigger, but that closer wave will block out anything beyond it. Just like sometimes when I'm zoomed in on boats and on a low tide and the rocks are sticking up, these rocks that are barely sticking up out of the water block out boats that are well beyond. So that tells you that a closer object, even at a small object, can block out a much bigger object farther away it goes. That's a lot to do with perspective. You could call it perspective angular resolution or perspective angular resolution visibility limit, where you can only see so far due to your angle to that object. So like I say, increase your height, you increase your angular resolution. And again, look at these light corpuscular rays hitting that water. Yeah, that's water out there, folks. It's even extending farther out there than what you can see. That's why when I did my video using a level and the virtual horizon on the camera, I was showing that my eye level should be above the actual Bayport rack. But then if you was to draw a line at 28 inches from my camera to that bird rack, I actually have to, it would be looking down to it. And why would it be looking down? Because of perspective. Objects get smaller and smaller. So look where that bird rack was, and then look how far back, much farther back you can see beyond it with those light rays. And obviously, yes, light does bend, but it does not pull shit up from behind the curve and place it in front of your face, or put it out there perfectly flat in front of you. This just is, it's a fail for the global belief system, that I call it. Now, you know, something else I'll bring up is, do I, you know, subscribe to a certain particular model? No, I don't subscribe to a particular flat earth model. Look at them rays, though. Look at where that bends at, well beyond Bayport rack and well above it. It's bending that light. It's reflecting off the water, folks. It's not reflecting from the other side of the curve. I don't know where people get this. It's just that you cannot see, due to, if this was no clouds out there and it was just bright haze, I would have a droppage right at the base of the Bayport rack, like in so many of my other videos, even at a higher perspective. It's strange. And these are the optical illusions that we get, is that, oh, that's where the water ends, but it doesn't. It extends much further out there. You know, again, I was always talking about a man walking into a well-lit room. He walks in and he vanishes into the light. Well, that's exactly what's going out there over the water at times. Now, again, I'm going to show you some cell phone footage as the next transition. It'd be some cell phone footage to show that I have not moved my camera one bit, Davo. So, Mr. Davo, pay attention, because this is truth, and I don't lie to people, sir. I don't lie to people. I don't know how old you are, but I don't lie. Here's my camera, and I'm showing you that the tide went out a little bit, very little. and I'm still in the same location that I started at. All right, I'm gonna let it go back to the natural audio after this next transition, even though I probably don't say a whole lot, but I just, I think I kind of made my point clear that, you know, this isn't a globe that we're living on.
I see something way out there. I know what that. I see something way up. See where the sign is? Look straight up.
Look at this. This is crazy.
Stick right up there. That's what I mean by their own thing.
They ought to move that sign. I agree. They call it the stupid sign, right? All it says is no swimming past this point. Hey, that's an idea. On a low tide?
It'd be funner with high tide.
Sorry. Well, you know, at this point, I didn't touch it. I didn't touch it.
Don't worry about it.
Don't worry about it. We will.
Just shots.
Dresser wants to take it out. No, you can dress me up, but you can't take me out. That's what. Oh, yeah. See, it looks like the water's moving this way and that way and meeting like right there. Pretty.
Jeez. Wish there was a little hole we could peek out of. A bigger one.
That's not what he's here for. This is kind of close, that way.
Just look how far out that horizon goes now, people. I mean, there might be a little bit of mirroring way off in the distance, but you can even see water well beyond that haze. Only because I think that I've got just the right amount of light to let it shine, but not enough to where it would cause the mirroring. So the more light you got, the more mirroring it occurs. And look at there is a boat way the hell out there, just floating by on the water. And you could probably see every bit of that boat if my visibility was better. But you can also probably see that there is some waves blocking that boat if I could zoom in on it. But again, this little bit of distortion is causing me not to be able to zoom in fully without getting some distortion. So again, it's not that I can't see the boat. The boat is there. It's not being brought up over the curve any way, shape, or form. And you can see there, you can actually see where that water line continues on. Now, I even put this little piece of video in here only because of the fact that I didn't want anybody thinking that I manipulated this little bit of footage. So I put the whole bit of footage in there just so you can see. And look at that boat go on by. I mean, my goodness, people. You can't see it, then it must mean that you're all blind. Now again, look as I move this my camera, how that different angle of light that comes into my lens and this heavy haze blocks things out further out there. But you can still see water well beyond that bird rack. And that was the Bayport bird rack. And then again, you know, I get back over here. Well, I think I'm done with the light rays coming through. But you can still see water going well beyond this boat. And when you look at it in increments, you know, as far as distance goes, it gets further and further and further out. You know, each time you split that, there's more water, more water, more water, and you can double the mileage every time. So, you know, I'm pretty sure that this boat has got to be out there a good 8 miles, 7 miles, and then you see water well beyond it. It even could be out further than that. All right, I'm going to go back to some of the natural audio.
Look at that. You can't zoom in on it. It's all distortion.
Here again, look at this haze causing this blockage. I cannot see past that certain point. But again, you can still see water well beyond there. Now, with the sun that just went behind all the clouds and supposedly setting, why am I still being able to see so well with a low light camera? Now, there are clouds behind me. Too bad I didn't have my other camera with me that day. And, you know, took a shot behind me. But the clouds behind me were all lit up white from the sun still shining on them. And that light reflected reflecting or refracting back off those clouds kept my horizon fairly lit up for quite a while. And I see this a lot of times, especially when I got clouds on the eastern horizon, way off in the eastern horizon. Look at how far out there you're looking. But even from way out, way beyond, or way out on the eastern horizon, those clouds will reflect back and keep it well lit an hour and a half after the sun has supposedly, gone over the curve, the fake curve, the false curve, the illusion of a curve. Other than that, I'm always able to see quite a long time when I have a clear sky in the west, but have some clouds in the east. And this is why I think that this occurs, because I'm just getting that reflected light coming back and lighting up the western horizon. That's my opinion. And again, you can see how far I have to stay zoomed away. I can't zoom in all the way. Otherwise, everything is too distorted. So for people that are out there doing their own observations, when you have these heavy distorted days, back off your zoom somewhat, and you'll be able to capture a lot of this stuff that is supposed to have gone over the curve. And I don't think that there's any magical forces that are going to pull something up from over the curve and put it flat out in front of you. I just don't think that any magical force can do that. Especially the kind of, the kind of mathematics that they put to this. How can you put math to so many different variations of distortion? There's just so many variables that you just can't put a number to it. Now, even there, when you look at this power plant right there, that's the Enclo power plant. On other days, it's stretched above these trees. Stretched way out up. That's just, again, that's like in a mirror, stretching and compressing something. So right now, what do I have? I have this distorted water edge blocking out anything beyond or where that tower would be setting. I'm not just looking at the tip of the tower. I'm looking at the whole tower, but it's compressed down a little bit and stretched out a little bit to the sides. So you are seeing the whole tower. You could actually see the secondary light flash, almost down to the water's edge. But again, I set between two power plants. One's 27 miles to the north of me and one's 27 miles to the south of me. And again, even at this low perspective, you can see water on the other side of this island, going beyond these islands. Why? Because that's my angular resolution limit, or my visibility limit at this point. Again, with that sun, when I was at the sun with them crepuscular rays, I was actually able to see further because I had the proper amount of light that was there. Now, you can look at that boat and tell, or when I get to one of these boats, you can tell that these boats are stretched left to right and compressed down a little bit. And again, as far as the size goes, when I zoomed in on the Bayport rack, that was at full zoom, and I still wasn't getting the same effect on a clear, visible day. Like, I've got some footage of the Bayport rack where it's just absolutely clear as a bell, but it's huge. It looks bigger than most of the time that I look at it. It might be slightly bigger than most of the time when I have good visibility, but that particular footage that I have, it actually did look even bigger yet. Like I said, slightly, but definitely bigger. And again, now I'm working with just this reflected light coming in from behind me, because how else would you explain where this light's coming from if it's not shooting straight parallel across the sky, bouncing off the clouds in the eastern horizon, and reflecting back onto the western side. You just can't explain it without having something of that nature reflecting that light back at you. So yes, I think this is reflected light. And people say, "Oh, I don't think that it would reflect off the water and reflect back up into the clouds. It's just not that strong enough." But yeah, here it can go 93 million miles. Come on. I mean, you think about it, folks, and really look hard in the background here. One of the things I know YouTube also does is they degrade my videos sometimes to where you can't see as well. They're degraded, and I think they do it on purpose because it takes away from some of the quality of your video and the detail of your videos. They like to do that to, again, make us all look like a joke. They are messing around with our view counts, our like amounts, our dislikes. They take our likes and put them over to the dislikes. I'm pretty sure that this is Bill Watts. And I think, yeah, I think I'm going to be following this. So I'll try to pick these out. That could be Billy Steele's, but I wasn't paying attention as I was talking, so I'll try to pay attention as we go along here if I follow that boat. I know in one part of this footage I do follow along here, and I can pick out the bird racks. Bill Watts is over 4 miles away from me, guarantee you that. I think it's more like 5 because the islands are 4.84 miles away. And again, here this boat, it decides to turn around and go back. I don't know. I do catch some boats going out and then turn around and going right back. I don't know if they forgot something or if they were just going for a boat ride. Let me see here as I come across here. Because if I keep going to the right and I come across Bayport, that would have been Billy Steele's that we saw, that other rack. Come on. And yeah, now we start getting some darkness setting in. And again, look at that glow in the background. And another boat. And some people are like, "Oh, well, why do you use this distorted footage? It doesn't do nothing for me." Well, it does for me because I study them, I look at them, I don't worry so much about the detail in this particular stuff. I look at what I can see. Okay, here's Billy Steele's. That's Billy Steele's because I can tell because of the little notch to the left of the rack. Not the channel marker, but to the right of that, in the center of the screen. And then you can see a boat well beyond Billy Steele's rack. Well beyond. I mean, just a little tiny shadow back there, but enough for me to see it well beyond the Billy Steele's rack. Billy Steele's, or excuse me, yeah, that's Hernando Beach rack. I am sorry, that's the mistake that I made before. I was calling it Billy Steele's. That's Fernando Beach rack. And the Hernando Beach rack is 6 to 7 miles away from the Pine Island. I have a video where a buddy of mine or a friend of mine did the distances from Pine Island out to these racks. You can find it in my I just passed Billy Steele's. It had a little flashing light on it. I should have slowed it down right there, but that's okay. You can go back and pause it if you really don't think so. And then we're going to come up to the Bayport rack here shortly. There's the Bayport rack. And with a boat beyond it. Now, I'm going to eventually here start going to the right more. Well, make a liar out of me. I go back to the left, but eventually I'll go to the right and I will find Cutter's Rock. Cutter's Rock is way out there. And don't forget, I'm still at that 28 inches, or with the tide going out, I may be 32. All that water out there is pretty shallow, and even the dirt, the sand, it's all pretty flat, pretty leveled out. So, I mean, from Pine Island on a low tide, you can walk out miles off the shoreline and maybe get up to your knees. And I'm talking extreme low tide. You can walk out a long, long way. My wife and I did it back when we were in our 20s. And people were saying, oh, you know, you're not supposed to go past these signs, because they had signs up saying not to go past that. But I'm like, if any boat can come in here, those boats have got to have, you know, they have to be, have tires on them to get up in there. All right, I'm fixing to hold up here for a second, and I'm going to transition to another video. And I'm pretty sure I'm going to start going to the right here sooner or later and pick up that other one. And this is another thing too, when you're this far out away from some of these bird racks, you know, people say, well, why can't I count these flashes? Because the flashes don't match what the brochure says. Because you can go to Hernando County Waterways site, and you know, they tell you how many times these lights flash per second, or if they're white light, you know, steady bright, or you know, whatever. But of course you're not going to be able to see how well they flash with the distortion. And believe me, at the distance that Cutter's Rock is, it's very distorted. You can see that this light is small, and you could probably count this one because it's the closest rack to me. But the other racks, very hard to count the flashes on them because of the distance, the distortion. So good luck on doing that. I would actually need a very, very clear night. Matter of fact, one night that I did do it, I used my cell phone inches off the water from Bayport Park. I zoomed, or I didn't even have to zoom in. It was on a very chilly night. I set my cell phone inches off the water and was still able to pick up Billy Steele's Hernando Beach and Bill Watts rack. And from Bayport, I'm pretty sure Billy Steele's, it was like 7.78 miles. Now, when I go to Pine Island, I am like 2 miles further north, but I'm out a little bit off the shore too, by about a half a mile, maybe a little bit more. I'm not quite sure exactly on that part. But again, still, there's no way that I should be able to see this water going well over the rack. Or well beyond the rack, I should say, because I don't think it's going over anything. It's definitely not going over a curve. These boats didn't go over the curve. They're still flat on the water. I mean, you don't see any bend or bow in this water. You just see an abrupt ending of it. And again, you know, angular resolution will stop you from seeing anything beyond that certain point. You have to have the right light. You have to have the right conditions. And this day I had the right conditions except for this distortion. Don't ask me why I have all this distortion. Well, I think I kind of know why. And it's because my distortion starts at this bird rack. Anything before that, it's all nice clear air until I get out to a certain point. Maybe the water is hotter out there in that location. This was also taken on January 22nd, which is more of cooler months. So with the cooler months, I'm able to have better visibility. And that's one of the things that I've been finding after documenting 3 years of my observations, is knowing which months are giving me my better views, which months I can get these anti-crepuscular rays, which months I get the lightning, I can go out and do my lightning pictures and videos. And people say, my wife's always worried that I'm going to go out and get struck by lightning, but I tell her, I said, the lightning that I'm filming is, 50 miles away. I take pictures of it at long distances, so I'm not going to get struck. Now, yes, there's been a few times where I've been out here at Pine Island, lightning all around, but hey, that's the chance we take sometimes, right? To get some good pictures or good videos or good time lapses of stuff that we like. I mean, I could go out on my boat and be fishing and die in a boating accident, or, fall out of the boat and drown. So anytime you're having fun, it's when God wants you to go, He's going to take you no matter where you're at or what you're doing. And people think that this boat right here is going right behind the rack. It's not. There's actually a few miles in between that boat with the light on it, and there's also a few miles between the boat with the light on it and the further boat further out there. And that's what people don't understand about perspective. Now that boat that's further back could actually be twice as big as that boat that just passed it. Now here's you see this post in front of me. That post is one of the signs, and what I found is as I move to the right of this sign, right in here somewhere, right there, I just passed it, and I'll go back to it again, but there was a light out there. That is Cutter's Rock. And like I said, a little bit later I'll zoom into it, or I'll go back to it and zoom in. So pay attention. And if the screen starts getting dark, I'm going to brighten up the screen, basically just to make it easier for you to see the stuff in the background. But right now I've got that lit up sky, and then way out there just above that water, I am starting to get some mirroring, I believe. That what you see, that dark edge, is just it reflecting the clouds up above that are way out there, way out there. Or it could just be that that area is getting darker first. But it should have actually been getting darker right where I'm at before it gets dark out on the horizon. But that's just the way, the camera, the light coming into the camera works. Now, if I zoom all the way out there, it does get much darker. That's because my camera's not picking up as much light, because the light that I'm picking up more is this light that's reflecting off the water in front of me right now. And you still see light there. Off the water. There's light off the water. Just open your eyes. It wouldn't be reflecting that light above if it wasn't reflecting some kind of light. Now here I start zooming in, and I believe this is where I start moving back around, and I will find Cutter's Rock. Let's see. Yep, I'm going back to the left. That's where Cutter's Rock should be. Come on, keep going. You'll see it. Pay attention, Davo. Davo, whatever the heck how you would pronounce it. I guess it would be Davo. Is that Australian for David? All right, here's something right here. But I don't think that was the light or the Cutter's Rock. I'm going to actually brighten the screen up a little bit. Hang on a second, because I got to pause. Okay, I brought the brightness up 18%. Again, just so you could see a little bit better. And I personally see the mirroring out there. I mean, it's really kind of hard to show it. only because it isn't like your normal mirroring, only because this is pretty much in the dark late at night. The closer I get to this pole to the left of me here, I'll start picking it up. Or actually, the light might not even be flashing, but I think it was. So just keep an eye out here. Davo, Davo, Devo. Oh, there's a boat with a light on it. Maybe that's what I passed by. Oh, there it is. Hey, look at there. Check that out, Davo. Huh? That's not a boat. It's sitting in one spot. And you can actually see the rack. It's a little dark spot, but you can see the rack. And you see how that light is just, it like expands. That's because it's in that distortion.
All right. All right. All right. How about one more? All of you together. Okay. Scoot over a little bit. Yeah, I know. Oh my goodness. Heaven forbid. All right. It's gonna flash. Okay. Oh. All right. Now I'm gonna do one without. Okay. I know. Smile. Yeah, exactly. Smile. You never smiled. Smile. Smile. You're not smiling. Take that toothpick. No, he's good. Oh, there. Yep. He says you can't take pictures when it gets dark. That's right. Purple. Oh, and that. That's not a cold over there. That's like.
Would you guys mind taking our picture? Oh. Jake hates this, but
Yeah.
oh, no, not at all.
I appreciate that. Thank you, guys.
We've
My
been
best
doing
friend
this
from
asking
Chicago,
people
so
this.
we're not.
I think she's got to get a little closer.
All day we've been asking people to take pictures. They think we're
I
together.
think we're a couple.
And then the other way, I'm like, nope, no, not.
Hey, you know what? Those are the kind of friends I have. Oh, yep. I'm not getting.
Oh, it didn't flash.
No, I was a little flash, but you know what? I got the one with your window.
I know. That's the genuine one, yeah.
Oh, that's awesome.
This is from Chicago.
Hiya.
You are? Yeah. We're from Indy.
Oh, okay.
I used to work in South Bend, Indiana.
Huh?
I used to work in South Bend, Indiana.
You did, huh?
Where are you from in Indiana?
Indianapolis.
Indianapolis? Wow. Big city.
Big city.
Where do you live here now?
We came from a little town. I grew up in a little town. You could count the houses, maybe 20 houses. It's not really well, near Frankfurt. Yeah, Frankfurt, Jefferson, just where I grew up. So it's a tiny little.
All right, Davo, I'm getting down to the nitty gritty. And that was, that's Hernando Beach. And the other one was Billy Steele's. That's the Hernando Beach rack. And then we should come across Bill Watts. Well, where you at, Bill Watts? Maybe I missed something because I was trying to listen to what them ladies were gossiping about. Oh, I think, nope, there it is to the left. Come on, right there. There's the Bill Watts rack. Or actually, that's not Bill Watts. That's, I think, the halfway marker. Maybe it's Bill Watts. I know Bill Watts flashes pretty good, pretty fast. Zoom back in here again. Maybe I can tell. And you can actually see some boats lit up well beyond it. And, you know, back over here I had found another rack. I believe it's the Arapica rack or Gomez's rock. I'd have to check in on that a little bit better. I have it in some of my other footage on a nice clearer day. And then coming up here, I've got some pictures And really, I need to do some video or some analysis of some of these pictures, because if I take them and put them in, um, or use the zoom tool on them, I'll be able to show you how. Okay, you see that light just to the left at the bottom of that? That's the rest of the power plant lighting up there. So you can actually see the light that's being emitted from that. And I ran it through a couple of filters, different filters, to get different effects. See if I could pull that light out better. Now I forgot my train of thought, because those were pretty good pictures. But oh yeah, I wanted to zoom in on some of these and take a screenshot. Again, there's that's Billy Steele's rack. And then we'll have another one coming up here. Still Billy Steele's. Again, I changed the filter on it. I've changed the filter on it. Here's where it goes out. Or that could be Bill Watts or the Hernando Beach rack. There's Bayport entrance rack. Run through a couple of filters. Just highlight a little bit more. And you see the dark edge out there. I'm pretty sure that that's still water. Just resolving that way. That's Cutter's Rock. Zoom back a little bit off of it. Zoom back a little bit more. See a boat out there. And then I fully zoom back out to where you can't see shit. You can't see the light because its light is not strong enough to reach the shore at 11 miles. And again, here I highlighted it or enhanced it, and boom, you can see it. But I did have to zoom in a little bit more on it. Again, if I was at a different angle, it would appear differently to that sign. So, you know, when I do change my location, I have to also make sure that I account for that, you know, different angle to the racks. Otherwise, I can't find it. And then again, you know, I was looking at this bird, checking them out, saying, look at its reflection coming off the water. And again, to the left, way to the left was Cutter's Rock. The boat's still out there. Now, further to my right is the North Rack. And then I stuck these in here because I changed my location. And I wanted to show the power plant to the north of me. Much more better visibility to the north than to the south. Don't ask me. Well, I kind of have my opinion of why this is. And I think it's all due to the angle of light still coming through. And then here's some really nice long exposures of the stars. Still with light in the sky. But I like these. All right, thanks a lot for watching.